Uh, Hello, assalamu alaikum. Today we have a presentation for Titanic exploratory data analytics for Titanic dataset. My name is Sultan Alamoodi and the metric number is 195007. Yeah. So first of all, let's talk about exploratory data analysis. Exploratory data analysis is an approach to analyze data and to summarize it, to summarize the main characters of the data set. We often use a visual method or statistical models. So we can use the primary data exploratory data analysis to see what to see what the data can tell us beyond the formal modeling or hypothesis testing task. There's many steps to do EDA, starting with question, then you download the dataset and identify the variables name and data types. Then after that, you can choose the appropriate methods to use for describing the dataset. If the data type is nominal, we can look into categories, or we can use descriptive if it's numerical. Then the last step will be visualizing the data. Okay. So let's start with the question we will be asked. This question will help us to do EDA more easily because we already know what should we do for and what should we look in the data and answer this question. The question we chose, as you see, is like what does the age can be a factor of survivability, or which gender survive more, or also what class of higher survivability. Does the ticket or the cabin, the passenger state affect the survivability or no? And so all those questions. So after deciding what question we will be asked, we will download the data set that we're giving, which is Titanic dataset, and we will start by identify the variables and the data types. For this dataset, we have 12 variables responsible for the data analytics, and the data type of this 12 variable is divided by, like, some of them are strings, numbers, or numbers like integer and decimal, and other Boolean values. So for next one, Ezzah.
Okay. So there are 12 variables in the data set. There is a passenger ID, number of survived, passenger class, name, sex, age, siblings and spouse, parents and children, ticket, fare, cabin and embark. Next.
Last step.
So by using the data visualization, we have detect there are numerical, descriptive and nominal, which is categories. But numerical is to use descriptive summaries in the data visualization to explain the numerical data types. And next is a nominal, which is categories that use the categories explanation in data visualization to explain the nominal data types, which we have a Titanic data set. We can easily convert the trained data set into a data visualization to make it easier for us to understand and do the conclusion and summaries to answer the question.
Okay, so my name is Ikhwan. and metric is 196553. This is the example of data visualization to answer the question that we come up with, which is, for example, like the first one is, does age can be factor of survivability? So if we can see here that the age which have higher survivability would be age 24, because the most survivor come from age 24, but the most disease are also from age 20, but age 24 have lesser disease person than the survivor one. Alright, and then by age group, so here that we can see that the age group of 20, which is age 20 till 29, have 77% survive, but it also show that the person age group 20 also have the highest disease count, because if you can see that the ship, the age group that uh, that goes into the Titanic ship mostly from the age of 20. So next question, like, what gender survive the most? From this data visualization, we can see that female survive more than male, while male uh, have
Die.
higher disease count than female. Next, next question is, which class have higher?
Survivability rate.
Yes, have survivability rate for gender, right?
Yes.
Yes. Next question, like, which class have higher survivability rate? Which class? This one shows that the data shows that passenger class 1 have higher survivability rate than class 2. Then class 3 and class 2 have the least amount of survival rate. And then the disease uh, count by class, which go towards passenger class 3, and the least was passenger class 1. This shows that passenger class 1 have higher survivability rate.
Survivability rate.
Yes, and passenger class 1 also has least disease count rate. Next is passenger count by class. We can see that passenger class 3 have the higher amount of count, and passenger class 2 have the least number of count. Next, Ezzah.
So next question, does embark port affect survivability rate?
Yep.
So as you can see at the embark survivor, where the passenger embark at S have the higher survivor, but also at the embark from disease, the if the passenger embark from S also has the higher disease.
Yep.
As you can see in the survivor, passenger that embark at C is more than that survive is more than the disease. It also the same as the passenger that embark at Q. So as you can see, there are more passenger that embark at S than C and Q.
Next.
Next question. So does having more sibling helps to survive?
Yes. So in the chart, we can see that if you have higher count of sibling and spouse. For example, like you have four spouse or siblings, the amount of survivability rate will be lesser, which is there are only 3 people that have 4 sibling or spouses survive. But the amount of people that did not have sibling or spouse have higher survivability rate, which 210 of them survived the Titanic. Next is parent and children. Ezzah?
Next is, does having parent and children helps to survive? So as you can see at the first line, Ikhwan, can your mouse move? Yes. So passenger that does not have parent and children have the most count of survive. Then the least one. Then the passenger that has parents and children, which has the count of survive that is 1. So for that question, I think having parent and children, I think does not help to survive.
So,
Do you agree?
yep, I agree. So, Sultan, can you conclude the presentation?
So as you see, like this is the stage of and the steps of our EDA process. We start by putting questions, and we use the software Tableau to do data exploratory and answer our question, then try to visualize it as you see it in the graph that Ikhwan and Ezzah presented. That's what we have for today. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy our presentation.